Women hate men who are try-hard. In this video, you're going to understand a super important principle. The idea of being too try-hard on the one hand and not trying hard enough on the other hand. Because if you're a man and you want to find a meaningful long-term relationship, then you obviously have to try hard to achieve that outcome. Any outcome you've achieved in your life so far came about as a result of consistent effort. In other words, trying hard. But you also realized that if you try hard with an individual, be that in a business context, in a sales context, or with a lady, it puts them off. People, women in general, don't like it when you come across as needy. So, neediness is a problem. Trying hard with one individual is absolutely an issue. But trying hard towards a goal is fantastic and absolutely necessary. You have to create a plan for online dating, for how to meet women in real life, for how to send Instagram messages. That is absolutely vital. But don't you sometimes feel that even when you're trying hard towards an activity, it can almost feel like burnout? It can wear you out, it's difficult. There's resistance. And in personal development, there's the idea of hard work. And especially in America. You guys love, 70 to 80% of my clients are from America. Love you guys, you're awesome, amazing country. But the idea of hard work is fantastic because it implies one, working long hours, and the other idea that's implied in hard work is I will work even when I don't feel like it and I will push through the negative emotions. In other words, I rely on the warrior archetype. I will get done what needs to get done. And that's fantastic. But I'm sure if you're doing well in your career or your business or in a hobby, you realize that sometimes you're also very well able to create fantastic results without trying hard at all. Isn't that interesting? Sometimes you may be on a date with a lady, in a business meeting, and you're putting in effort, but it doesn't feel like effort. Wouldn't it be amazing to be able to have your dates go super well without even trying? To do well in your business or career without even trying? I mean, while trying, but it doesn't feel like trying? Because that's ultimately what women want. Women want you to come across as having things go easy. Yes, people like a struggle, people like a hero's journey, it makes it come across authentic, but people also really like people who make things come across as very easygoing. So there are outward benefits of being perceived as somebody who makes things happen effortlessly. And then also doing it from your own internal perspective because you burn less energy and you can actually get energy from the activity itself. Now, whether you get energy from the activity in and of itself obviously also depends on whether you like it or not. I will never in a million years get energy from doing math, learning about a history. I just don't like it whatsoever. I like martial arts, personal development, dating, coaching, nutrition. That's it. The stuff that I like. The other stuff I don't like. Now, in order to find a quality relationship with an amazing woman, you have to get to enjoy the process. And it might take you 2 months, it might take you 11 months. Shouldn't take you years because then you're doing it wrong. 3 to 6 months, 9, 2, depends on your individual level and where you're at. But you will have to put in consistent effort for some time. But you're only going to be able to do it if you're not fighting all the time, if every approach feels like a war, and you're fighting, and you're anticipating the pain of a rejection, and the date is weird because you feel awkward, and you feel like you're putting in so much effort and it's just hurting. Of course you're going to stop. But what if you could be on a date? Just extend your hand. And she takes it. Or imagine even in a bar without saying a word. You don't have to go to bars, by the way, and you don't have to drink alcohol. But in a hypothetical scenario where you're there, you've never talked to her, and you just do this. And she actually takes it. Would you believe me that if I told you that 7 out of 10 women will actually take your hand? Obviously, there are factors your appearance, the energy you do it with, the eye contact you hold, that determine the conversion rates on this particular technique. But it's not even a technique. You can actually just extend, you can extend your hand and a lot of them will take it. And then depending on how bought in she is, you could go for a spin, put her hand around your arm, at the very least say, I really like your eyes. What's your name?
Thank you. Fernanda.
Oh, Fernanda. Amazing. Where in Argentina are you from?
I'm not from Argentina.
Where are you from?
Brazil.
Brazil. Ah. I have a friend of mine, he's half Brazilian, half Norwegian.
Oh, really?
He taught me some really bad words. I can say cabaloca, chaveirinho, cachorro,
Well done.
and some really bad ones that I can't say right now.
Why?
They're so bad. You promise you're not easily offended? Mm-hmm. Okay, if this wasn't the video, I would say it, but I can't. What if you had such a degree of ease in your interactions? Obviously, that partially comes down to a competence, and there's a lot more structure and processes and systems underlying this interaction than you might even be aware of. But it also comes from allowing yourself to shift into the archetype of the magician as opposed to the warrior. Trust me. So maybe just elaborate on what that even means. There's this idea that there's basically 4 or more archetypes that we as human beings can inhabit. And these are the warrior, the king, the magician, and the lover. And the warrior is the one that most men lack. It's discipline, it's strength, it's fortitude, it's resilience. It's being able to get done, whether you feel like it or not. There's an obstacle, boom! I'm gonna break through. I'll fight. I'll set boundaries. Internal fortitude. That's the warrior. And that's all well and good. She likes that. Women like energy. Or she's just scared. I don't know. Are you scared? Basically. So that's the warrior, right? And you, if you're doing well in any area, be that in jiu-jitsu, your career, or your business, you've developed it in that area. It's basically the idea that you're not going to rise to the level of your goals, as James Clear in Atomic Habits says, but you're going to fall to the levels of your systems and discipline. And if you've been able to go to the gym for a sustained amount of time, if you've been able to work 11-hour days for 4 years in a row, etc., that is the warrior archetype. You're going to make it happen whether you want to or not. You also realize that having to push yourself to do these things all the time is going to wear you out eventually. And if you want to have the most optimal experience of life, the most easygoing experience, and it's okay for things to be easy, by the way, as long as you have the inner willingness to fight through when it's hard. I'm going to get it done whether it's hard or easy. But once you've developed that resilience, once you've resolved that within you, then things can actually become easy. And it will once you shift to the magician. The magician achieves what the warrior wants to achieve effortlessly. Easy, but letting go. And these archetypes, I'm not going to talk too much about the lover or the king today. We might do that in a different video. But they're basically mental and emotional states. They're ideas that you can associate with. And if we think of a warrior, we have a certain image in mind. Sparta, gladiator. There's these types of images that come to our mind. Very strong men that fight! Now, trying hard and fighting on a date doesn't really work. Fighting to get her attention, fighting to get her approval, fighting to hopefully get her to show up on a second date doesn't really work. No, does it? Because you can try to convince her with big blocks of text. You could try to convince her with double texting, with over-investing, by being overly approval-seeking, by really trying to make things happen, or even just by unconsciously exhibiting this sense of neediness. But it just doesn't work. What does work is to shift into letting go. What does work is to understand that I want you, but I don't need you. So there's a cognitive shift that happens, but there's also a physiological shift. Where your shoulders drop, where you relax, where you enjoy the emotions that arise where you label nervousness, not as nervousness, but as excitement, because they're just emotions anyway. You can meditate to achieve such a state. You can create pattern interrupts, cognitive reminders. And there's an unbelievable sense of ease and effortlessness that occurs. And you will create the same results as the warrior, maybe even better, with less energy. And by the end, you'll have more energy, not less. Because whether or not you're in the warrior or the magician, I know it's an imperfect analogy, but I'm sure you're going to be able to get some value from this. You're going to be able to realize which archetype is primarily driving you, depending on how much energy you have after the task. If you have a lot of energy after the date or feel exhausted, that shows something. And by the way, jiu-jitsu or judo is actually a perfect metaphor, and I'm not amazing at it. I did judo for 3 years as a child and a little bit of jiu-jitsu back and forth, but I don't know a lot about jiu-jitsu. But I trained karate for 6 years, so I understand martial arts better than 9 out of 10 people. And especially when it comes to judo or jiu-jitsu, in the beginning, when people aren't used to wrestling, standing up or on the ground, they tense. They get very tense. Same with boxing. And then people exhaust themselves because their muscles are tense all the time. And really good jiu-jitsu practitioners, really good judo practitioners, they relax, except for certain key moments. Then they rapidly accelerate, and then they only start tensing the muscles that they actually need. Obviously, in certain moments, the entire body tenses, but they're way more relaxed most of the time, because if you're tense the entire time, you're actually physiologically burning more energy. And psychologically, that's true as well. If you're psychologically tense, not only are you going to turn her off, because women don't like men who are try hard, because again, it implies they don't have options. Women don't want to be with a man who doesn't have options. But also it wears you out, and you won't be able to freely express yourself. And also, if you're trying really hard, then you're going to be very serious. And the funny thing is, in a work context, in a business environment, it's perfectly fine to be a little bit more stern and serious. But that doesn't work well with women. Obviously, you're not supposed to be a joker. Obviously, at times, she needs to realize that you are a man of substance, for sure. But you can actually relax and let go. In the recovery movement, and I'm not even particularly religious, I'm spiritual more so. Even though I have clients who are super religious, some who aren't religious at all. It's all amazing for me, I don't mind. But there's this idea of letting go and letting God. And even if you're not religious, just play with, you can substitute God for the universe, life, whatever you feel comfortable with. It's just an idea that I'm offering you. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. God is able to assume your worries. And even if it's just a metaphor, even if it isn't actually factually true, wouldn't it be helpful, just as a cognitive concept, to think that you can? Doesn't it make sense to adopt a belief as an individual, not necessarily as a society, but as an individual, if it has empowering benefits? Doesn't it have utility for me to believe in something if I don't have enough evidence to the contrary? For example, that I can let go and let God. Even just say these words. I choose to let go and let life. I choose to let go and let the universe. Even just these words change your physiology. Even just these words bring a complete new, renewed sense of comfort. So there are certain affirmations, whatever phrase, whatever wording works for you. This is not a religious argument at all, by any stretch of the imagination. If you're religious, amazing. If not, then not. But understand that you can let go. Just you take all the tension right before the day, 10, 15 minutes, and you let go. I have a meditation on my YouTube channel, by the way, here, that's called Calm and Confidence, I believe. You can look it up. You can do it. I really recommend you do it. It's a 25-minute meditation. It's extremely powerful. Do it. Meditation is a super powerful tool. Going to the gym is a powerful tool. Going to the sauna is a powerful tool. But ultimately, it comes down to how you think. Wayne Dyer, one of the biggest legends in the space of personal development, says there's no stress in the universe. There's only people thinking stressful thoughts. And obviously you can make a counter argument Just go on YouTube and look at any lion ripping the head of a gazelle. That seems quite natural stress, of course. But again, just play with the idea. There's no stress in the universe. There's only people thinking stressful thoughts. And Gunther Schmidt, one of Germany's best psychologists, I'm not a doctor or psychologist, but somebody who I've been able to learn from a lot over the years, I've been fortunate enough, he says that when you feel high pressure and you were to hold up a barometer, the air pressure didn't change. Pressure is created through your thoughts and how you think. So, how confident you come across on a date, or insecure, how try-hard, how relaxed, depends on what you focus on, your physiology, and your inner dialogue, the words you utter. Well, it has to work. Obviously, a degree of relaxation comes with factual abundance. Get more options. Apply for a free initial consultation call if you want our help with that. No issue. But you can also create any sense of relaxation that you want in the moment. You really can, if you have the right words you're uttering. And the beautiful thing is, you have 100% control over that. You can switch from try hard to letting go just by changing a couple of words. And if you really need to, while you're on the date, you can actually just excuse yourself and you can just say, excuse me just a second, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. You can do a quick meditation, gather your thoughts. Don't stay too long, otherwise she'll think you have gastrointestinal issues, or however it's called. Perhaps you consumed a lot of soy products, which is what happens with me when I eat 8 protein yogurts in one day. Don't want to give her the wrong impression, but then again, it doesn't matter. But you can excuse yourself. You can do whatever the you want to do, as long as you don't interfere with anybody else's right to do the same. You can create whatever sense of comfort and confidence you want. You're going to get away with whatever you choose to get away with. But most of us are too loyal to our suffering. That's what Jack Kornfield says. You're very loyal to your suffering. You don't even realize how addicted you are to the stress, how loyal you are to fighting. And by the way, I really respect it. It's actually amazing that you've developed that base of the warrior who's able to make stuff happen. Whether there's resistance or not to fight through, that is amazing. That is a competence. There's nothing wrong with that. And you'll always have that as a base to fall back on. But why not evolve? Why not go to the next paradigm of thinking? Check out a book called Spiral Dynamics, Levels of Consciousness. Time to level up. Why does it have to be hard? Why can't it be easy? Why do I have to try hard? Yes, I want to put in a lot of effort, but why does it have to feel like effort? And again, sometimes it's going to feel like effort, sometimes it's going to be soul-sucking certain things, tasks, admin tasks in the business, going to the gym. Didn't want to go to the gym earlier, did it, got it done. But then there's also hacks. How can I make it easy? Okay, I need to get my 10,000 steps in. Can I walk with a friend? Can I call a friend? One of the fastest hacks for me to enjoy doing steps or to enjoy doing cardio is I actually just call clients. And I coach them while I'm on the bike, while I'm doing steps. Because for me, just walking, looking around the nature, my brain is underwhelmed with that. So there's tricks to make it easy. You can make things easy. It doesn't have to be hard. Once you have the willingness to drop back into the warrior archetype and you're actually strengthening it for an hour a day in the gym, you're always going to do something that sucks. But then once I've decided that I'm going to achieve the outcome, once I have decided that I will find a high quality, meaningful relationship, why not do so in the most enjoyable and easy way? It can be easy. But as an achiever, which you probably are, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video anymore, part of you believes that you only deserve something, that you only deserve to feel good about a certain outcome you've achieved if you've suffered to achieve it. Oh, only if I've worked hard. Why not identify with being somebody who gets results as opposed to somebody who suffers? because a part of you does this. And it's admirable in a way, but why not just identify with getting results? Whether you get them in an easy way or hard way, who cares? Nobody really cares. The girl doesn't care whether you suffer to get her. Fernanda cares that I approached her someday. You can find some through online dating. She just cares that I'm here. Whether I suffered in the lead up to it or not, or whether I enjoyed it, they don't care. People care that you create the outcomes. So why not just create them in the most enjoyable way, but it starts with a decision. I will change how I identify myself. I will no longer be the guy who identifies himself as somebody who has to really struggle and try hard to make things work. I'm going to let it be as easy as possible. I'm going to find the strategies. I'm going to get the mentors, the coaches, the role models. I'm going to find the information myself. I'm going to get the shortcuts that I need to find the tactics and the strategies, because yes, they do matter to make it as easy as possible. But at the same time, I remember that it is really just a decision. It's remembering who you truly are. And who you truly are is somebody who naturally creates results. You don't look at a child and yell at it, grow! Child just grows. If you have children, you know, the child has no intention to grow at all. And yet it grows. Isn't that a beautiful thing? You don't have to yell at a flower in the garden to grow. It just grows. It's in it. Producing results as somebody is something that you are. You've naturally always done it. As a child, learning comes easy and effortless. You just have barriers. And you're back a bit sore, my baby. I'm sorry. I'm ranting. Grow your back muscles. This is actually just a workout for Fernanda's back. I'm sorry. Do you want a pillow? I don't need it. Do you want it? Okay. You don't have to yell at objects or things or organisms to grow and do what they inherently know to do. You don't have to yell at yourself. And yeah, sometimes having a bit of a harsh inner dialogue to get yourself to do the things that need to be done have utility until they don't, until a point of diminishing returns. Putting pressure on yourself has utility until it doesn't, until it's too much and it reduces your own sense of competence. But why not have things be easy? And especially on the date. Women love it if you're not try hard. If you're like, too cool for school. Not arrogant, but if you had to choose between a little bit too confident and a little bit not confident enough, go with a little bit too confident. It's really no issue. As long as you're kind and caring, and if you're watching these videos, if you're all familiar with my content, you are a type of man who genuinely cares. You have good intention. That's why you deserve all this. You deserve for things to go easy. And when you're on the date, you can actually just lean back. Tactic, you physically just lean back. And you sit and you talk and you look around, you hold eye contact and maybe you look away a little bit. You create space. That's amazing. We've talked about that in one of the previous videos. You can allow for things to be easy, but you need to make a decision. Change how you speak to yourself in your own head. And remember, it's not just the words, it's also how you say them. Because you're not even aware that your internal dialogue isn't just defined by the words themselves, but certain submodalities. Is it dark and heavy, the voice? Is it like high-pitched? You can make any fearful thought sound ridiculous, and you can take almost all power away from any fearful thought just by saying it in a Donald Duck type of voice.
Oh, I hope I don't get rejected. I hope I don't get rejected.
Oh my God, I hope I don't get rejected. It sounds ridiculous, but it's actually cutting edge neuroscience. It's true.
Oh, David is afraid of rejection.
We disassociate from the suffering part within you. And we've talked about that in other videos. I actually have a video here on my YouTube channel called How to Find Real Love. And there I talk about focus, physiology, and your inner dialogue. I'm not a psychologist or a psychotherapist, but cognitive behavioral therapy is about thoughts. How you think, that's how you feel. Wherever focus goes, energy flows. You can control your thoughts. And you can remind yourself in the middle of a date, in the middle of an approach, that someday you're going to die, you'll be old and wrinkly, 90 years of age, and you'd give anything that you have in that point in time just to be able to go back and be your 30, 40, 50, 30, 20, 80-year-old self, however old you are right now, to experience those emotions of nervousness again. Hey, you're experiencing life right now. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it beautiful that you're in this process? That you have the chance to get out there for X amount of months, do approaches, do online dating, send messages on Instagram, and then manifest an amazing relationship out of nothingness? Isn't that a miracle? That's one way of looking at it. Or, oh, women are, the dating market is, bro, it's fucking horrible. Duh. How you think, that's how you'll be. Whatever you keep thinking about, that's what you'll become. Be very careful with the thoughts you encourage, not the thoughts that arise in consciousness every now and then. We all have stupid thoughts, that's no problem. The only thoughts that have power over us are the thoughts we choose to believe. But don't empower the wrong thoughts. Oftentimes you're not even aware of how much you're taking a power away from yourself by believing in things that don't support you, that make things hard. And here's the beautiful thing. You have an unconscious intelligence within you that you can consult. You do need external feedback, and I really recommend that you apply for a free initial consultation call, because there's a million blind spots you have regarding dating that you don't even know that you don't know. There's things you know you don't know, there's things you don't know that you don't know. But you, or at the same time, you also have an unconscious intelligence that you can consult while you're on the date. This is a question my father gave me many years ago. He said, David, if you're in a situation, you're given a speech, a presentation, anything, you're on a date, ask yourself, ask your unconscious mind, ask your system, what would be easier? Or what would be lighter? In German we would say, was wäre leichter? What would be lighter? Was wäre leichter? Was wäre einfacher? What would be easier? And don't consciously demand an answer from yourself right then and there. Just ask your system. Ask God, ask the universe, ask life. Ask your body. You have a challenge, a problem that you need to solve. It's something that you've been avoiding. An approach that needs to be done. Anything. Once you have the willingness to do what's hard, you can just ask yourself, what would be easier? What would be lighter?